I'm here with Doug Hazlitt, Hazlitt 1852 Vineyards. Doug, you're the winemaker?
No, I am not the winemaker, although I did play winemaker for 1 year back in 1995, and the wine really wasn't too bad. But no, my sister and I own the business, and we have two different winemakers that make the wine for us.
Gotcha. So you just oversee everyone, manage everyone, and go to a lot of meetings, I understand.
Yeah, go to a lot of meetings and make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's pretty much a full-time job, so we go with that.
Hazlitt 1852 Vineyards, as the name implies, you've been around for a couple years.
Yeah.
The business has been, rather.
Yeah, I'm actually the 7th generation of Hazlitt's that's been right in this area of Hector. And we started growing grapes back in 1852 and other fruit. And in the late 70s, early 80s, we started the winery. And 1984 was actually our first vintage of wine. And been growing ever since.
I know you guys make a lot of different wines. Before we talk about some of the wines that maybe people haven't heard about, let's talk about the wine that pretty darn near everybody's heard about. That would be Red Cat.
Yeah, Red Cat is our best-selling wine. It's a sweet, fruity wine made from Catawba grapes, which are Native American grapes. We also blend in French hybrid reds to give it color and a little bit different flavor. But that's really the workhorse of the winery. We're selling about 200-some thousand cases a year of just Red Cat now. But we have lots of other wines as well, estate-grown vinifera varieties, Riesling, Chardonnay, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, all the dry reds like we're drinking here, the Pinot Noir.
Your diamond label, is that the term?
Yeah, we call it the diamond label, the heritage label. And again, that's all estate grown. We grow all the grapes for the diamond label series or the heritage series. And they've all been very, very successful, just numerous awards.
Oh, yeah, awards all over the place.
Best of show, so they do really, really well. And the nice thing about Red Cat is that makes it so we can afford to do a really good job with the vinifera wines.
And it's also, I think the Red Cat's neat because a lot of different people get to enjoy Red Cat. A lot of people like it from all over the place. All different types of wine people like Red Cat, and it introduces them to your brand. And from there, then they can explore like what we're having right now, or some of your more or less well-known brands or grapes.
Right, exactly. And the rest of the world now is just realizing that people really like sweet, fruity wines and blends. It's the fastest growing category in the wine industry right now, are sweet reds. All the major players, the Mondavis, whatever, all have sweet red wines now. So they're finally catching on to what we figured out back in the early 80s. And we didn't plan on Red Cat being the big variety. We basically, the first year, we made everything, from the Chardonnay to Cabernet to Red Cat. And our consumers that came here told us what they liked, and
with their wallets.
And we made as much wine as it took to, keep everything in stock, and and now we make 250,000 cases of Red Cat, and we make 1,000 cases of Chardonnay. So.
Right, the market has spoken.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're standing here. You've got a well-known tasting room here just across the parking lot that people are familiar with. But we're standing here now in one of your newer buildings on the property, the Oasis.
Yeah, the Oasis we kind of call it the Party Pavilion, and we just found that a lot of people are going from winery to winery and getting kind of the same experience. They go in, they do the tasting, they go to the retail room, and they buy. And, so we started with a tent that we just served wine slushies in and beer and, some simple food like, hot dog and pizzas, and people really loved it. So we thought, geez, let's build a nice pavilion. So this is, all timber frame construction. And we basically open it Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. We also rent it out if people want to do, events here or whatever. But just a nice place for, a little change of pace for people who are coming to the wine trail. And it's real busy on the weekends. I mean, it's just packed. We find that, big groups will come in and half the group goes in to do a tasting and the other half says, I've done enough tastings, I'm going to go out and
have a snack.
Yeah, have a snack and a beer.
A liquid snack.
Yeah.
So family owned and operated here. You and your sister Lee.
Yeah.
Really hold down the fort. Are any of your kids potentially involved in the business now or in the future?
Lee's kids are younger. She has 2 boys who are young. I have 4 children. My 2 oldest daughters work here on summers. They're both in college now.
Okay.
But I do drag them in to work some, and who knows if they'll come back and run the business or whatever, that remains to be seen. But they all love the business, and we do get them out here making some money.
That's what matters. Yeah. And unrelated, completely unrelated, virtually unrelated to the wine industry, the wine business, the Hazlitt to do Vineyards, is your boat, your ship. What's the proper term?
Actually, it's a schooner.
Schooner.
Or yacht. And obviously, I was dropped on my head one too many times as a child, and I've got this love of big wooden sailboats. Yeah. So I never could seem to, afford to buy one that was all restored. So I would pick up these old historic boats and completely rebuild them. And it's a real love of mine, a real passion. I've done 2 big schooners now. The first one was a famous racing schooner from 1930, 2-time Bermuda race winner. The boat that we just restored is a 65-foot schooner that was owned by General George Patton. In fact, General Patton had it commissioned in 1939. Sailed the boat some before he was killed after the war in 1945, but the boat actually stayed in the Patton family until the late 70s. So some real history there with that boat, and we brought it in and fully restored it, and we'll get it out to the coast and down to the Caribbean, hopefully, and get some sailing in.
Instead of just building. Yeah. But you like the process of restoration, or you wouldn't have bought the thing in the first place,
I love the process of restoration as much, actually, as the sailing. It's a ton of fun to take an historic, something like an old wooden boat that's got history and kind of, bring it back to life again. So it's a lot of fun.
Excellent. Anything else you want to talk about today?
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about your Red Cat facility.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well, that's almost old news now. About 4 years ago, 4 years ago, we bought the old Widmer Winery, which was one of the original wineries in the Finger Lakes. It's in Naples, New York, which is the south end of Canandaigua Lake. Started back in the 1800s. Went through many owners from the Widmers and finally ended up with Constellation Brands owning it. And they sold it to us. It's a big facility, about 3 million gallons of capacity, and that's now where we make what I call our core brands, which would be Red Cat, White Cat, Brambleberry, Cabin Fever, and we bottle everything there. We make our diamond label brands here in Hector, but we move them over there for bottling and storage. And it's a great facility, and came with 500 acres of land, 3 houses, and so we do our winemaking there, and we do a lot of co-packing. People will bring wines in, and we'll pack them, bottle them, ship them for them, or people bring in grapes and we'll press and go right from the bin to the bottle for people as well. So it's been a neat business, and it's just nice. It's kind of like the schooners. I don't know what would have happened to that facility if we hadn't gone in and kept it going as a winery. It probably would have been
sat, and then things like that they go bad quickly.
Exactly, yeah. And it would have been pretty tragic for the town of Naples. So it's again a lot of fun to keep that facility going, and I think we've got 39 employees over there or something.
Well, it's a neat facility. Yeah. I did get a brief tour not too long ago. Yeah. It is very cool, and it's neat too. You reiterate a theme that we've been talking about in a lot of these interviews today, which is how, you compete with wineries, your neighbors, to an extent. But the reality is, most of the wineries in the Finger Lakes region, they play in the sand lot together pretty well. They collaborate together, they work together, they partner in many ways. Yeah, and that's absolutely the case. With very few exceptions, everybody in this industry gets along. Everybody helps each other. There's no real secrets, that people keep. Everyone's willing to share information between, whether it's in the vineyards or winemaking. We make some wines for other people, or if they don't have the capacity, they'll bring us some grapes and we'll make batches of wine for some other wineries, or bottle if people don't have the bottling capacity. It's everyone gets along. It's a really neat business in that way, that you don't have all these competitors and there's no real stress of worrying about what your neighbors are doing. Right. Everyone gets along, and that's great. It's really a neat business in that respect. Well, Doug, thank you very much for your time. Hey, you're more than welcome. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again.